Hello, my creepy poples. Welcome to Creepy Corners. Happy Easter if you celebrate Easter. I hope it's been a fun one with family and friends and whatnot. And if you don't celebrate it, I hope you had a fantastic Sunday. So today I wanted to show you a couple of things that I found to be sort of cool. The first thing is it has to do with Chicago, and the second thing has to do with Morgana. So I'll show you that stuff, and then when we come back, I want to tell you more about the that Saint Gabriel Cemetery, the one that doesn't have any gravestones. So be sure to hang out until then. So hopefully you thought those things were cool too, but it really was just a couple minutes. So, so I wanted to read this to you now. Remember this cemetery that I visited where there were no gravestones, but let's see what it says here. 7,312 people are buried there. And I told you that I would see if I could find more information about it. And what I failed to do was go back to the geocache that originally prompted me to want to look into it. And she actually, the lady that put the geocache out, actually tells the story of the thing. So I thought I would share it with you. And I'm not going to do ASMR this time, unless my voice is ASMR to you, and then I'm doing ASMR. Okay, so here we go. It's not very long, so just hang with me, and I'm reading it off my phone. So the weathered bronze statue in the middle of the lot seems distinctly out of place off Cicero Avenue near Interstate Highway 57. In the spring, patches of purple and white wildflowers dot both sides of a gravel road leading to the nondescript land. Few are aware that the 15-acre tract at this particular place is a cemetery opened in 1913 by the Franciscan Fathers. It talks about being respectful of the area. Fewer know that what appears to be an undeveloped plot is the burial ground for 7,312 Catholics, most of whom were destitute or declared mentally ill and abandoned by their families to die in county homes early in the last century. Which goes to show, I know some of you mentioned that it could be those sorts of things, so you're right about that. Although flowers are placed on graves at other cemeteries, none can be found at St. Gabriel's. The last burial took place here in the late 1970s. No markers identify graves, and only the statue of St. Francis of Assisi looks over the land directly south of Cook County's Oak Forest Hospital, which that's where Mom and I went to the hospital and out to the geocaches out there when she was here last. The passing years have covered the grave sites with a shifting landscape that obscures any signs that the property is a cemetery. An employee of Mount Olivet Cemetery in Chicago said it was a potter's field for Catholics who died in the old Oak Forest Infirmary. Even though St. Gabriel's probably will never again be used for burials, don't expect to see condos or a new subdivision spring up there. The land is consecrated by the church. It will always remain a burial place. To expedite burials, concrete vaults were set in rows in the ground and covered with dirt until needed. Several empty crypts still remain in the ground. Despite the grave's lack of markers or gravestones, cemetery officials say they can pinpoint the plots of everyone buried here since it opened. Sadly, no one has sought the remains of relatives since 1978. Contributions from relatives averaged about $9 a month during the early 1950s, but stopped over 50 years ago as families died off. St. Gabriel's was run by priests from nearby St. Roche's Friary for 40 years. They conducted simple funeral rites from the cemetery's opening until 1953. The Chicago Archdiocese took over St. Gabriel's in 1953 when the order couldn't maintain it anymore. That's it. So if you're curious about this geocache, if that's something that you're into, the GC number is 5Z1QQ. We weren't able to find the geocache itself. So if you're curious about the cemetery or doing any sort of research into it, that's what I found out. So hopefully you found that interesting. I definitely did. I would have never guessed that that was a cemetery. But otherwise, I am gonna go ahead and end it here. And I hope you have a good day or good night, wherever you are. And I will talk to you next time. Bye. Thank you for watching. Click here to subscribe or click here to watch another video. I'll see you later, creepy poples.